Hello and welcome back to Prosperity by Design. I am your host, Fallon. It's like Jimmy Fallon, but it's my first name. I am super excited about today's episode. I actually took it from a call that I was on yesterday. I took notes on it and I used that call as inspiration. So if you're ever looking for inspiration for content, literally just use experiences that you're going through in your life or in your business or whatever, because that is one of the best places to draw inspirations from. So that aside, let's dive into the episode for today. And so what I want to cover in this episode is actually something I heard Abraham Hicks talk about on a YouTube video that I was watching at some point in the year 2022. And what I think is really important as a takeaway from that YouTube video is that it should all feel effortless, okay? And it almost reminds me of the time when my crew coach explained to me that you want your rowing to look effortless. Like, obviously, rowing is not an effortless sport. You need to really push yourself and really dig in deep as far as how much strength and how fast you're going to be moving the boat and how fast you're, pushing and going. But you want it to appear easy. You want it to appear effortless, almost like you're a ballet dancer was the way that he would describe it. And running an online business, I feel, it's a very similar thing. You want to definitely approach it in a very similar way. You want to obviously be doing the work, but it appears effortless. So on the inside, you know that you're doing what needs to get done in terms of you're putting out content, or you are maybe talking to people, or you're teaching, or you're coaching, or you're creating, your course, or you're, handing tasks down to your team members. You're doing the work, but it's effortless. It has this flow and this ease. And I know I was talking about an Abraham Hicks video, and I promise I'm getting to it. But the way that, he was describing it is that a ballet dancer, my crew coach, of course, when a ballet dancer appears on stage, has this beautiful elegance. And that's the quality that makes ballet effortless, this elegance that the dancer brings to her craft. And even in crew, the idea is to make the stroke look elegant, look very put together and poised, and not necessarily this really hard, arduous is a big word, but exhausting thing, okay? And so the same, I really truly think and kind of believe goes into entrepreneurship, where you're like I said, you're doing this work, but it's elegant, you're poised, you're put together, you're completed, when you're doing these tasks. So the reason why I bring this up is because the person who was on the call yesterday was talking about how she wasn't experiencing any flow, and she's putting all of this work, hard work, and this time and this effort and this energy into creating offers and into creating courses and programs, and she's putting all this effort in, and she's not seeing any return out. Or even she's investing in coaches and in memberships, and she's not seeing a return out. And there's definitely another story that I also want to share of my own personal story on today's episode. However, I really do also want to get to this Abraham Hicks video, because otherwise I'm going to forget it. So Abraham Hicks was talking about in this video a river. And when you think of water in a river, there's a current, okay? So the water flows a specific way. Maybe it's flowing downstream, but maybe the current changes and it's going to go upstream. And now I want you to think of a boat on this river, okay? Let's just use my crew boat, for example. If I were to go out on a boat on this river and the tide was flowing downstream and I was rowing upstream, I'd be rowing against the current. So it would be naturally a lot harder for me to row, number one, because I'm rowing against the current. Whereas if I were to turn my boat around and I was to row with the current, then it would be a lot easier. I would be rowing a lot faster than I would be if I were rowing against the current. And so when you're investing all of this time, all of this effort, all of this energy, and you're investing in all these coaches and all these people and all these programs, and you're not seeing a return, I want you to bring yourself to this analogy of a river, okay? Like, are you going upstream or are you going downstream? Are you with the current or are you against the current? And probably 9 times out of 10, you are going to be, actually maybe even 10 out of 10, you're going to be against the current. It's going to be something that it's not flowing. And it's because you're trying to like force it. You're trying to pull really hard so that you can get upstream faster, but there's so much water that you're not going to be able to go faster than the current. You just can't. It's just it's physics. It's physics, okay? If you want to go someplace faster, you go with the current, not against it. And so if you're experiencing all of this resistance, and even in terms of like clients and people who are coming into your world, if they say that they want something and they don't actually buy into it, it's because your clients are picking up on this resistant energy, and what you resist persists. Okay, it is just such a foundational quote and saying that I've heard my mentor say. What you resist persists. My God, words. But it's true. If you are going to fight against something, if you're going to resist something, it will continue to linger in your life. And when you surrender, and when you go with the flow, and you just listen to the current, and you follow the current, then it'll all become so much easier for you. And again, I want to just like, kind of tangential, but still very, very relevant. I want to share my own story in terms of this, resistance and this surrendering. And it's something that has happened to myself recently. Like, I have been forcing, like, going upstream on this river and making it look so hard to be an entrepreneur for the longest time, because people kept telling me, you are known for one thing. You're known for content. You're known for going viral. You know how to do this. And I kept forcing, and I've been saying it, and you can even listen to the episode that I did with Mariana, where Mariana even mentioned that I said this to her at some point last year when I had her at my baby shower for Penelope, where I said, if I'm forcing something, it's probably not in alignment. It's probably not meant to happen. And if I'm really, like, if it's something that's really going to be profitable and really going to be helpful, then it should be easy. Like, it should be flowing. And for a lot of people, they get in this state where their business isn't flowing and they're going against, everything in them and around them when it comes to creating offers. And I was there for the longest time, and I was creating these offers because people were like, oh, well, you should be known for this, or you have this kind of transformation or this kind of story. And in all honesty, it doesn't really come down to the transformation of the story sometimes. Like, yeah, okay, the transformation of the story is important. That's why I can create content like this for you right now. But if it's something that I don't feel I can put out there, if it's something that I'm not excited about, then you're going to know. Like, I just listened to a couple of the episodes before this where I was talking about the content code. Literally, if you listen to the way that I talk about it, of course it doesn't sound like I'm into it, because I literally kept saying, I don't even know if I'm going to offer this program. And it wasn't even something like exciting. It was something like, it was like drudgery. It was exhausting. And when you're involved with something that is exhausting you, it is not going to bring you the manifestations that you are looking to bring into and call into your world. So it's really important. And there's another episode that I could do on this in terms of human design and gate 40, which is actually my sun gate, which actually, like, I have, so, like, today is the day of revelations in terms of, exhaustion, forcing things, and surrendering in divine will. And so, anyways, back to the story. Point being, I've been forcing it for such a long time, and I had asked the universe at one point, show me something. I asked for a squid. I was like, show me a squid if I'm meant to go in this direction. And day in and day out, I did not see the squid. And the day that I said, you know what? Forget this. I'm going to decide to go in a direction that is completely opposite of this, and I'm not going to do these things, and I'm not going to force it anymore, and I'm just going to let it come and flow through me. That was the day that I saw a squid. I shit you not. I shit you fucking not. It showed up. It was the first video on my Facebook Reels recommendation. I can't make this shit up, okay? So there really truly is something to just, it's not giving up, okay? It's giving in. Saying, I can't control the outcome. I can't force this to look the way that I want for it to look. Honestly, if I'm going to go back to the example of crew, it takes a while. It takes, a couple years before you get to that ideal version of the stroke that your body can do it. And your awareness can see the stroke in your head and create that stroke with your body. It takes time because you don't just hop in a boat and then you have the perfect rowing stroke in a snap. It doesn't happen in a snap. And in all honesty, how many people talk about how many different businesses they've tried and 80% of businesses fail within the first, however many years? Yeah, because it's like you're a novice. You're learning how to row for the first time. You're learning how to run a business for the first time. It's going to be messy. You're going to flip a couple times. You're going to, fail a couple times. But the idea is that day in and day out, you show up and you practice, and you'll realize one day that it's going to come so easily and so effortlessly to you. You are going to make it look so elegant, and it's going to flow. And it's because you're not forcing it. You're not forcing it to happen a certain way or to have this many particular clients. Like, you show up, and you show up in the good energy of happiness, abundance, excitement, and you are showing up in alignment with whatever is going to be flowing. You're showing up and allowing that river to carry you where you need to go. So I wanted to come and pop in on the podcast and talk about that, because one thing that I think is very prevalent is that people will tell you that, the harder you work, the better it's going to be, or whatever, and that's just simply not true. And I don't think I've mentioned it yet, but there is absolutely an episode that I also want to record in terms of the less you work, the more you make, because literally I've seen that in action in terms of my own family and their business, because my family does own a business, and it's mind-blowing how little my family members do and how much they make. So those are things that I think we're going to get to, as the podcast develops. I have to go back and re-listen to all of these episodes to write down the list of all of these topics that I'm like, that's a different story for a different day, because they're really good stories, and I also think that they're going to be really relevant to help you get where you also are looking to go as an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, a business person in general. So if you have not yet already, in conclusion of today's episode, definitely be sure to leave a review. Again, reviews are always appreciated. The first 50 reviews that are received on this podcast are going to get a goodie box sent to them in the mail. And don't forget to tag me so I know where they have to get shipped to, because I cannot ship them if I don't know where they're going to be going. So that's number one. Number two, the Seasons of Business membership is going to be launching in August of 2023. I am super excited about it. It is going to be the platform, the community for all things inner work, all things business, all things content marketing. And I'm super excited, because this idea has literally been 2 years in the making. and I'm actually going to see it come to fruition. So if you are interested in the Seasons of Business membership, there is a bonus for people who decide to do the annual membership subscription. You get 2 months for free, and then you get access to a course that I typically would charge $5.97 for. So definitely be sure to check that out in the link that I'm going to be putting in the show notes. And until then, I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye!